I am Ferdinand Marcos, and I am the President of the Republic of the Philippines. I stand today on behalf of 110 million Filipinos.
Hi everyone, hello universe, it's me again. Shout out sa inyo mga kababayan. But anyway, mayroon tayong upload video. Ito po yung interview ni Secretary Dizon ng DOTR, no? Ay siyempre courtesy po ng ANC HD, ANC Digital. Siyempre ang host dito ay si Rico Hizon Beyond the Exchange, no? So kung nakikita niyo sa screen natin mga kababayan, ito po yung ongoing and future project ng Marcos administration. So baka hindi niyo alam mga bes, maraming mga tawag dito mga projects na dekada na hindi pa po matapos-tapos. So nakakatuwa naman talaga rin naman kay Pangulong Marcos Jr. Mga kababayan, tinutukan niya po yun. Ayan, no, tingnan, Metro Manila Subway, first underground railways in the country. It's a rebuild project means to rehabilitate Metro Manila means through fair. North Sound commuter railways linking New Clark City to Calamba. Bataan Cavite interlink, yes. Nako, maganda ito. Pinakamahabang tulay yan sa buong Pilipinas. Maungusan niya po ang San Juanico and of course sa buong mundo, no? Will drastically cut travel time between provinces. E-jeepney and e-buses part of the clean energy push. Mindanao Railways project under planning and partial construction. Ayan, no? Kaya abangan po natin ang mga resulta nito, no mga bes, ang groundbreaking. Ayan, yung Mindanao Railways project for sure. I hope na matutuloy talaga yan, no? Ito po ay, baka hindi nyo alam mga kababayan, itong Mindanao Railways Project, ayan po ay, nasa blueprint ng dating Pangulong Marcos Sr. Pati po ito, itong subway, nasa blueprint po yan. Mga kababayan, yung mga build ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, yan po ay galing sa blueprint ng dating Pangulong Marcos Sr. Yan po mismo ang nagsabi si dating Secretary Tugadi. Di ba? Even si Senator Tulfo, Erwin, nasabi niya yan po doon sa interview niya kay Jaime Marcos, at sinabi din ni Jaime Marcos, ayan po ay blueprint ng kanyang ama. So dahil dyan mga bes, para kompleto detalyado, panoorin niyo po ang interview ni Mr. Rico Hizon kay Secretary Dizon. No, maganda to mga bes, marami kayong malalaman dito na mga projects na nakatingga ngayon po ay pinupush ng Marcos administration para matapos na. So, see you again guys on my next upload. Bye and babus. Eto na.
It's a pleasure. I want to get your reaction to this statement of Pbbm during his State of the Nation address. He said, "Mahiya naman kayo sa inyong kapwa Pilipino. Shame on you, especially towards your fellow Filipinos." And he directed this to officials who are corrupt in government and in public office. What was your reaction when you heard the president say this?
Nakakapangilabot, Rico, no? It's really, I literally had goosebumps during the sauna. Because it's I've been in government for quite some time. Yes. And to be quite frank, it's the first sauna that, gave me that kind of a reaction, to be honest. No, it was very different. The atmosphere was very different. The tone of the president was very different. First of all, before he even said that, I think he started out by saying that, yes, we're doing well. The economy is growing. Inflation is down. But it really doesn't matter if people don't feel it, and if people are still suffering and are still, living difficult lives on a daily basis. So I think that's the first ever president that I've heard to have such an acknowledgement of how people really feel. Despite the rosy statistics that are out there, he acknowledged that. And I think it really speaks to how this president really is treating, especially this last half of his presidency. He really wants to just get things done because he feels the people's pain and he wants to get things done. And I think his frustration was really it climaxed towards the end of his speech where he said, "Mahiya naman kayo, kawawa yung mga kababayan natin, naghihirap." Tapos ninanakaw nyo pa yung pondo ng gobyerno. Mahiya naman kayo.
At itong mga problema na ito, no, Secretary Vince, have been happening for decades
Yes.
now. No?
Yes.
These flood control projects, we continue to have this during
Yes.
the rainy season. We have 20 to 22 typhoons every year.
Yes.
Infrastructure
Yes.
and transportation has
Yes.
been mediocre.
Yes.
And why do you think we are having a hard time getting this done?
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer, Rico. You know, it's a hard question to answer. You're absolutely right. No, it's been happening over and over and over again. No, but I think what the president is trying to do now is he, in his last 3 years, has said enough is enough. You know, our people are suffering. You know, we just approved so many flood control projects last year. And actually, in the previous one, he even touted these flood control projects and said, we're going to do all of these things. But he said, and I think he said this in his podcast just a couple of days ago, when he said, nung binisita ko, yung mga, this is the president talking, nung binisita ko nung itong December at ngayon, wala akong nakita. No? I didn't see any of these projects actually working and doing what they're supposed to do, which is to mitigate and control floods. So I think that was really what made the president say those very strong and very emotional words.
But why has
to
there
the
been
members of Congress.
neglect of our transportation, our infrastructure projects, and through the decades, pinag-usapan lagi, korupsyon ng ating mga public servants. But why hasn't it really been addressed, Secretary Vince, in your view?
I mean, I think, they have been addressed, but they have not been addressed in a consistent manner. Na I think that's been the problem. You know, yung sinasabi nila ang Pilipino, paminsan-minsan ningas kugon, no? Na pagka mainit ang issue,
Meron silang
may
gagawin.
Pero pagka nawala na sa
Nakakalimutan na.
nakakalimutan na. So, I think that's really been to me, no? And I've been in and out of government for the last 2 decades, more than 2 decades. And I guess from someone who's been a staff member of a senator and who's worked
And
as,
you worked for 3 presidents.
Yes.
President Noy,
Yes.
President Duterte, and now President Marcos.
Yes. I think that's really been the case, and you as someone who's worked in the bureaucracy, you're just watching how things unfold, no? And to me that is what I see personally, no? Na yung consistency, yung mainit, gagamig. So, but hopefully magtuloy-tuloy na tayo finally once
Do you think
and for all, no?
nandyan ang political will, Secretary Vince, with what the President said
Yes.
during his SONA?
I believe so.
That he will follow through
I
and
believe
that
so.
we will see improvements in our flood control projects and this could happen. I mean, now it's starting to rain again.
Yes.
We're gonna see it over at least the next
Absolutely.
year, 2 or 3 years before the end of his term.
I believe so. And I think the president will follow through on this simply because, you felt it. You felt the sincerity and really the disappointment, the frustration of the president. No, he wants to do good. He wants to make all of these things happen for the benefit of the people. But unfortunately, iba ang nangyayari, no? At hindi nangyayari yung dapat. So I think yes. I think I see the will of the president, and I think our people will see it in the coming months, and especially towards these last 3 years of the president's term.
You are now in charge of the Transportation Department. Nung pagpasok mo sa departamento, nakakita ka na ba ng korupsyon? Did you immediately see that there was corruption in deals, in projects?
Yeah. Sa projects, mostly kasi, no, ang DOTR deals with a lot of foreign-assisted projects. So, in those projects, typically,
These are the big ticket
like
items.
subway, the railways. Diyan, wala akong nakita. No, wala akong nakita. Pero, marami akong nakitang mali sa mga frontline agencies. Sa LTO, sa LTFRB, no, sa iba pang mga ahensya na talagang yung nakaharap araw-araw sa ating mga kababayan.
Face to face.
Oo.
Corruption.
No, andyan yung problema ng mga fixer sa LTO. No? Hindi yan kamukha ng mga magalaki ang infrastructure na bilyon-bilyon na nawawala. Pero napakabigat niyan na dinadaanan ng mga kababayan natin araw-araw. You're gonna get something as simple as a driver's license, for example. I mean, it should be easy to get a driver's license, meaning you go there, you take a test. If you pass it, you get it. If you don't pass it, you don't get it. It
Just
should
like
be
what
as
we
simple
see
as
in
that.
other countries.
Just like what we see in other countries.
Secretary, apart from corruption in 9 agencies, marami rin nagsasabi, when you have this big ticket, transport or infrastructure projects, sinasabi, ay may kickback yan. Lagi may kickback. It's
Yeah.
like it's already part of the culture.
Yeah.
But now that you are on top of this situation, how are you trying to make it corruption-free, future-proof?
We're trying
For our people.
We're trying to make everything as transparent as possible. For example, when we do projects, we typically get what they call a transactions advisor. A transactions advisor is someone who is reputable, like the Asian Development Bank, the World Bank, the International Finance Corporation, or other reputable international agencies to come in and assist us in the actual development of that project, from the development of the feasibility studies all the way to the bidding of these projects and to the award of these projects. I think that is one way. That is not typical in a lot of infrastructure projects, but in the OTR, we make it a point to make sure that we always have that, kumbaga, parang guardian angel, kumbaga, na nakabantay, at ginaguide kami, and to ensure transparency throughout the process. You have to make the changes. I mean,
And you have the political support of the president.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%.
So if you tell him, Mr. President, may problema tayo sa Department of Transportation. I need to make these changes. He will give you a free hand.
Yes, I did it in the beginning, and I still continue to do it if I need the support of the president. And he has always been very supportive and always gives the trust and confidence to the people that he has appointed. So what's important lang, Rico, I think, is this is not an overnight process. No? We have to understand that. No? We cannot make changes just like that. I've been in this job for 5 months, 5.5 months. And we're slowly making some progress. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I mean, especially
It's a long road.
It's a long road, but we just have to continue on. But at the same time, I think equally important, if not more important than this, is we have to deliver for our people. We have to deliver results. And when I say results, I'm not just talking about big ticket infrastructure projects, which take years to complete. We need to deliver results on a daily basis. I mean, our people go through so much every day, and small things mean a lot to them.
Yeah.
And the president said it himself. There's nothing too small for us to do. So if we need to make sure that escalators and elevators work in the MRTs, we need to make sure that lines are not as long as they used to be, to give the public some relief and some comfort and convenience in their very brutal daily commute.
Yes.
We have to do that on a daily basis.
Yeah. And we see that in a lot of the first world countries, and we want to emulate those kinds of
We
best
try.
practices.
Yeah. It's a long road, but we
Yeah,
have to start somewhere.
You've worked in some capacity with 3 presidents: President Noynoy Aquino, President Rodrigo Duterte, and now President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. How different are their management styles in terms of
Quite different.
infrastructure, transportation, and public accountability? Let's start off with President Noy.
Wow.
First of all, I did not have much interaction with the late President Pinoy. I was an undersecretary
For policy affairs.
for political affairs. So I didn't really have that, wala akong masyadong interaction kay President. So I really can't speak too much as to the management style. I really know what, the public knew based on, what we see in the news, etc.
But from what you saw,
But from what I saw, I guess there was not a lot of infrastructure push, at least as far as I can remember, during that time. So I really can't speak a lot about that. The infrastructure push really came under President Duterte.
Yes.
The
Build.
The renewed, and I was very active in the Build program. I was the president of the Basis Conversion Development Authority. We had two major projects at that time under Build. The expansion of the Clark International Airport in our province, Rico, and the new Clark City in Tarlac. No? So I worked very closely with the other infrastructure agencies, DPWH, the Dotr, and the economic team. No? So there I had pretty much a front row seat there. And you know, I mean, that push was substantial. No, that push was, and the numbers showed it. And a lot of the projects, though still unfinished, because infrastructure, matagal yan eh. No, matagal yan eh. But for our end, we were fortunate that we were able to finish both of our big ticket projects at that time. The first phase of New Clark City, and also the expansion of the Clark International Airport, the new terminal.
So how different were the management styles of President Duterte and now President Marcos?
Quite different. President Marcos is more hands-on.
Narinig niyo yun?
In my experience now, in my limited experience the last 5 months, no. President Duterte really let the cabinet, you know, do its thing. No, he would say, okay, build, importante yan, basta gawin nyo. Diba?
He likes to delegate.
Yeah. President Marcos, very hands-on. No? Very hands-on. He really makes it a point to get updates, regular updates. He wants to understand where the project is, what are the causes of delays, if there are any, what are the challenges. And he really works with the cabinet members, at least in my limited experience with DOTR, you know, to really find solutions to whatever bottlenecks we have, you know. So that there is a difference there.
Vince, you were seen as a no-nonsense action man. I mean, before joining the Marcos administration, you were already doing so well in the private sector over the past 3 years.
Yes.
Why the passion for public service?
Well, actually, masayang-masaya ako talaga dun sa private sector. No? Especially, you know, my last assignment, as you know, was during the pandemic. You know, and that was probably the most stressful time for me, no, in public service. No? Kaya the reprieve from that was very welcome when I joined the private sector. I mean, syempre may stress din sa private sector, no? You have to deliver on the pero ano ko nun,
relax. In public service, you're under the microscope. Every move you make.
Iba siya. Gano'n ang DOTR, Rico. So, to be quite honest, I miss it. I miss the life, you know, the simple life in the private sector. And I'm very excited. I'm really excited, hopefully, to come back after 3 years, to be honest.
You're in the news every day. So you've really built this relationship with traditional and social media.
No, it's not really about that. It's just that,
there are even memes that come out about Vince.
But you know, I think it's really not about that. But it's, I think the thing with DOTR is everything that the department does is really something that's important to our kababayans on a daily basis, and it's important to inform them, no, to be honest, and people who know me, and even in the media, in my previous jobs in government, I really shun media. I really don't. I'm not very comfortable with it. But the problem is in DOTR, no choice, eh?
Yeah.
Because I really have to be there to look at if the trains run on time, if the escalators are I have to do it. No, because if I don't do it, problems, as they say, problems don't fix themselves.
Yeah. It's your mandate, this rails, roads, skies, and seas.
Yes.
I mean, you're on call 24/7. What is your... Do you get nightmares? Do you get bad dreams?
I do, really. I do. Literally, I do.
What kind of dreams?
Well, you know, kasama na yan yung mga problema sa tren. Minsan nananaginip ako na may mangyayari sa
So in the middle of the night, sometimes you wake up?
Oo.
And you get calls midnight? Early in the morning?
Yes, I do. Well, sometimes I get calls or I make calls. So, So because 24/7 ang transportation, Rico eh. No, and as you said, it's land, sea, and air. No, no. So I mean, I think it's really, it's fulfilling once you see small things, that make the lives of our commuters a little better. But it's hard. It's hard, Rico. It's really, I cannot even begin to describe, the amount of stress. Every time a line in the LRT or MRT breaks down, every time there's a problem at an airport or a runway somewhere or a port somewhere, or there's an accident involving a bus or a jeep or a truck, it's never ending.
It's
Rico,
never ending. They'll always look to the DOTR. They will blame you. Then you have to fix it immediately.
I have no issue with blame because I mean that's par for the course. It's part of the job to get blamed. No? But what I'm really concerned about is, I mean, the things that should be preventable. Like for example, these accidents. No, I mean, and I don't like calling them accidents actually, because accidents parang wala kang magagawa doon, aksidente, di ba? Pero these crashes on the roads, like this crash involving the bus in SETEX, which killed 12 people. To me, those things are preventable. If only we had the right systems in place at the LTO, at the LTFRB, pwedeng ma-prevent yun eh. No, people don't have to die from these road crashes. Because all of these things should be preventable, and that's I guess really that's the sad part about it. But we have to just find a way to make the system work better.
With so many line agencies under the DOTR, I mean, what is your leadership mantra? What do you tell your undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, and the people in the DOTR on how we should move forward?
Trabaho lang. That's what I keep on telling everybody. Trabaho lang tayo. That's it. That's all we should do, and that's all we can do. I mean, as you know, and you've been covering the politics and the government for so long. I mean, there's so much noise all the time, everywhere. But sometimes the best way to move forward is just to say, let's just work. That's it.
But of course, all of this work through the decades, we've all made mistakes, right?
Yes.
We all make mistakes.
Yes.
What would you say, Secretary Vince, was one of your biggest mistakes that you've learned from, that you're now implementing, that will not be repeated again?
I think for DOTR, and obviously I don't want to judge my predecessors, but I think one of the things I think that has become a problem, why projects keep on getting delayed, why projects keep on getting canceled, natayo na, biglang hindi matutuloy, gigibahin, gagawa na naman ng bago, I think is because there is no plan that gets handed down and passed on to the next guy in our chair. No, I think that is the biggest problem. No, it's all, the projects are being labeled as project ni ganito, project ni President ganyan, project ni ganyan. Hindi dapat ganun eh. Project yan ng Pilipinas eh. Project yan ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas. Hindi yan project ni President ganito, ni President ganyan. Or ni Secretary ganyan, ni Secretary
or Mayor nito, Governor nito, or Senator,
I think that's our biggest problem.
Yeah.
No, and once projects start getting labeled as such, and not as projects of the government for the people, then this is what happens. And we've paid for it. We've literally paid for it in terms of time loss, in terms of money that's been wasted all these years.
So, what would you like the Filipino to remember Secretary Vince Dizon for? What legacy?
I guess, I just want to be maybe remembered based on what results that we've managed to accomplish. That's it. I mean, I don't really care about myself. I'm not a politician. So I don't really care about.
You have no ambitions to run in 2028?
No, not at all. I'm going, believe me, 2028, I'll be very excited to go back to the private sector. But just getting these projects done, especially projects that have been long delayed for some of them decades. Like, for example, like this common station, which is very close to where we are right now, no, in Trinoma. That project has been there, has been planned and tried to be accomplished for the last 15 years probably. And it's so important, Rico. It's so important for the commuter. It will be a game changer pag matapos yon. Pero hindi matapos-tapos. So, yon yung MRT7, yung pagpapagawa ng bagong terminal sa Katiklan. Ang tagal na ng mga yan eh. Ang tagal na ng mga yan. And kung matapos yon under the term of President Bongbong Marcos, kung ma-enjoy na ng mga kababayan natin yon at makapagbigay ng konting ginhawa, yun, masayang-masaya.
I can really feel the passion
Masayang-masaya na ako.
and the love for your job, Secretary Vince. On that note, Secretary,
So narinig nyo mga kababayan yung interview ni Sir Rico Dizon kay Secretary ng DOTR na si Vince Dizon. Oh, di ba? Sabi sa inyo si Pbbm talaga. Kung marinig nyo yung sinabi ni Secretary, mas more hands-on sa kanyang trabaho, lalo na sa mga big projects niya. Di tama din ang sinabi ko. Ang Pangulo very meticuloso. According to kay Secretary, di ba? Nagtatanong ang Pangulo, kumusta yung project, magkano ang cost, etc. Di ba? Yun. Ganun dapat ang leader. Hindi po yung isang leader na forke secretary mo sila, sige, kayo nang bahala na kayo dyan kung anong gagawin. No, hindi ganun. There's a possible, mga kababayan, pwedeng may kurakot na nangyayari. Kasi, sasabihin ng ibang sekretary, halimbawa lang I'm not saying all the secretaries are magnanakaw. No, hindi naman sila ganun. Ito ay example lang. Like for example, ganyan, wala kang pake. Pinabayaan mo na lang. Kumbaga, bahala sila because you have a lot of secretaries na gumagawa, di ba? Siyempre, there's a possible, mga kababayan, na may magaganap na mga kurakot sa baba. Hindi nalalaman ng isang pinuno. But because of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., na talagang mitikuloso, very hands-on sa kanyang mga proyekto, kung saan-saan na natin siya nakikita, according to our videos naman, ina-upload natin yan, yun dapat. Bakit kanyo? Para iwas kurakot Pero ganun pa man, nalulusutan din talaga Why? Kasi yung nangyayari ngayon, mga kababayan. Inaasahan niya yung kanyang proyekto, yung pala kinukurakot ng mga contractors at saka yung mga kasabwat ng mga ibang opisyal ng DPWH. Yun ang ibig kong sabihin. Kailangan talaga, tinicheck ng isang pangulo yung mga proyekto kasi nalalagay sa alanganin ang pundo ng bayan. Tama naman yung ginagawa ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. ngayon sa kanyang pamumuno. Kung hindi siya nag-expose tungkol sa mga kurakot sa mga proyekto, walang nagsisilabasan. Mananatiling kurakot yan hanggang sa hangganan kung hindi nanita ang Pangulo. Pero dahil nanita siya, ayan, tuloy, naglabasan. Ayan, may isang video tayo, di ba? Ngayon, nakulong siya. Yan po ay opisyal ng DPWH ng Batangas yan. Kasi nanuhol. Yun. Di ba klarong-klaro na may kurakot sa baba? Ganun lang yun. Talaga naman, nakakalungkot yung ating mga kababayan. Inaasahan din naman talaga yung, yung magagandang paglago ng ekonomiya. Ngunit mayroon mga tao talaga na salaula. Mga kurakot, mahabang kamay. Sa panahon ni Pangulong Marcos Jr., hindi natin makakalimutan kasi actually, ang daming talagang project, mga kababayan. Narinig nyo yung sinabi ni Secretary Dizon. Napakaraming project na dekada na hindi pa matapos-tapos. Ngayon, on process na para tapusin. Yan, ang sinasabi natin. Sabi ko nga, di ba? Si Pbbm lagi ang taga-salo Siya ang taga-lutas ng problema. Siya talaga ang magtatapos sa mga project. So, pag natapos mga yan, siyempre, Oh, kumbaga i-credit naman sa kanya. Oh, 'di ba? For consuelo naman. Tinapos niya dekada niya na nga yung dekada na nakatingga tapos hindi lang maituloy-tuloy. Oh, 'di ba? Like for example, tulad na itong mga bagon na binili ni dating Pangulong Pinoy. Oh, 2014 sabi ng Pangulo, hindi man lang ginalaw. Nandoon lang nakatingga. Oh, anong ginawa ng Pangulong BBM? Pinaayos niya. Oh, 'di ba? Kung hindi dahil sa kanya, wala. Mabubulok at makakalawang lang doon. Si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte wala namang pake. Hindi niya naman ginalaw. Oh, ilang dekada na, ilang taon na, 2014 kamo kawawa naman ang mga tao nangangailangan ng tulong dito sa mga train na bago na kailangan i-operate kasi para kailangan natin. Ay, kanya lang wala eh. So, pero ngayon, ayan. Kumbaga gumagana na po ang bagon. Sunod-sunod na umaarangkada na ang mga bagon. Oh, ayan, mga bes. Itong maganda kay Secretary Dizon, at least nakikita niya na mas magaling talaga si Pangulong Marcos Jr. than the others. Because sabi ni Secretary is more hands-on talaga si Pangulong Marcos Jr. bilang Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Kitang-kita naman natin yan mga bes. Sa dalawang mata natin dahil doon sa mga video na in-upload natin. So yun mga kababayan, ang aking pinaka-latest updates video. Ito courtesy po ng ENC Digital sa Beyond the Exchange with Rico Hison. And syempre, maraming salamat sa inyong watching. May next upload. Bye bye bye. Yan babus. God bless Philippines.